Hello, everyone out there in Twitch land. I have an echo. Why do I have an echo? Welcome back to another week of Rime of the Frostmaiden, a Twitch experiment, and I need to figure out why I am echoing in my own ears. However, before we do that, asking Bard, the music that you have commented on in chat is actually Travis Savoy, RPG music maker. He has a Patreon. The link will be in the credits after the stream. And he is on YouTube. Self-taught, composes amazing music to back up your RPG games. Now, while I fiddle with these, I will leave it to the guys to introduce themselves. And let's mix things up. Starting right down below me, we will start with Johnny.
Hi there, I am Johnny. I play Teal, the Oath of Vengeance Paladin.
And thank you, Johnny. And Ted.
Hello, everybody. I'm Forrest. I play Ted, the half-elf sorcerer who finally got to use his fireballs last game.
Fireball. And Bill.
Hey everybody, I'm Bill, the half-elf swashbuckling rogue. Look forward to stabbing more ankles.
Nice.
Did you say half-elf?
It's half.
Aren't you a halfling?
Halfling.
Yeah.
Halfling, not half-elf.
A little shorty. And John.
Evening, everybody. I'm John. I'm playing Jahan because I don't want to have to remember another name, which is a half-elf monk with these fine gentlemen beside me.
Excellent. And last but never least, the incomparable warrior Chuck.
Hey guys, I'm Chuck. I'm not quite as creative as John, so I named my character Finn. And I am the half-elf dragon-marked cleric who bashes the knees that aren't stabbed by the rogue. So
Yes, you are a knee basher. Players, do any of you have the stream live that might be feeding back? I've got everything muted on my end.
I'm on, but it's muted.
Huh.
Same.
It is. Oh, that muted me there. And poor DM Charlie is confused. And he tries something else. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Yes.
Well, a day in which you learn something is a successful day. Therefore, my day is successful. Okay, so when last we left, the party had been traveling north with the half-elf Helka seeking Angajuck's Landing to have trade, truck, commerce, conversation with a great ancient cetacean in order to head out onto the sea of moving ice and obtain whale oil. Not going to tell him that. From the whalers that are camped out on the ice floes. However, during your travels, what happened? Who'd like to say? Anyone? Don't all jump in.
We were attacked by, on the road, we were attacked by some orcs.
Yeah, they tried to ambush us.
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Hence
It
the
didn't go too
firewall.
well for them.
Naughty frozen orcs. Okay, I had heard comments before we began that you wanted to do what?
We gotta search.
Bodies. And
Just
search-
leave me hanging. Yeah, you wanted to search the bodies. Okay.
Sure.
You wanted to do what? We don't know,
More
Charlie.
fireballs?
More fireballs?
I don't know.
Have a barbecue?
Build a snowman.
Ice fishing.
Ice fishing.
Ooh.
We do try for a high quality product here, folks out there in Twitchland. However, you're expecting like a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner, and then you open up your Hungry Man and you say, it'll do. Okay, how are you going to begin searching? Just going to loot the bodies that aren't burnt to a charred black and crisp in the rapidly freezing pools of meltwater?
No, I wanna start with the
Thank you,
The
Rob.
prisoner, female, and her husband.
What?
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 The
Wrong
lady
campaign.
orc.
Wrong
No.
campaign. What? What? Don't.
Yep, wrong campaign.
Oh my God!
Yeah, let's go with the lady
Wow.
orc.
1, 2, 3, 4.
It's not a Hungry Man. It's like a 5-day-old takeout container at this point.
Where the noodles are hard and stuck to
Oh.
the side and they crack when you. Oh my God! Can you believe
I-
people actually? Yeah. Get serious. Wait. Okay.
Yep.
How are you gonna search?
I would like to search the group around me, please.
All right. Quick pat down of the slaughtered orcs, their greenish blood rapidly frosting over and turning into shiny greenish hued puddles of ice on their bodies and the snow around them. You root through those pockets, having to rip the tough hides apart and the stitching because they've been frozen solid shut by the filth that just litters them. You root through and you find a handful of coins. You find a couple of small shards of obsidian and the weapons that they were carrying. You do note that as you go through their stuff, they are remarkably short of food. And as you rip some of their clothing open, you notice, unlike the orcs that you met in the south that were hale, hardy, muscular, these ones seem a bit emaciated, and you can see the hollows in between their ribs and in between their biceps and their bones and their arms and their cheeks, now that you're close, look sunk in, and their eyes are, well, closed, darker than before.
You're trying to make us feel bad for orcs?
It's what?
They were just
We're not going to feel bad for
hungry. Now they're even hungrier.
Cold bastards. You find through your searching, you find the equivalent of 2 dozen silver. They didn't have very much wealth. How about the cleric or the rogue?
Yeah, I was investigating the one that was over here near me.
All right. DM moves the board. Where were you? Oh, down here. Okay. Yeah, similar results. The orc doesn't seem to be carrying anything of interest or intelligence, and you again also just find a handful of coppers, a half dozen dented old coins of various make, obviously carried north by other adventurers and traders long ago. Clearly ill-gotten booty in this raider's hands. Cold, dead hands.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Sorcerer,
Um,
paladin. Yeah, paladin.
Yeah, I was gonna check the two up top here next to me. I will roll you an investigation.
All right, please.
Maybe.
17, the investigation. As you root through, looking through the pockets, you too just find those few copper pennies, their weapons, a lack of foodstuffs, and the bodies are also equally emaciated and starving. You do note, as you search, that one of them has an interesting wound that looks like a jagged slash on the rib cage that seems to have been cauterized, is the only way to describe it, along the entire length that just wraps right through the ribs. You haven't really seen a scar quite like it before, but you can tell by its shape and lumpiness and just the way it looks that it was cut open and then burned at the same time.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna motion to the group to come check this out when they're done, doing what they're doing.
Okay. And the sorcerer, anything?
Sitting on a sled, ready to go.
The witch? Oh, Helka?
No, I think he said sitting on a sled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sitting
ready
on
to
the
go.
sled, ready to go.
Ready to go. Other stuff to fireball.
All right, so that is a 14 because you have the assistance of the monk and the paladin. Looking at the wound, you realize, Finn, that the wound was clearly made by some sort of magical blade that had some sort of enchantment on it, that maybe it was like lightning, maybe fire, maybe some other form of energy that did this. It's a unusual wound. What that information means to you at this time, however, you are unsure.
I will relay that information to the group, but looks like this orc has been attacked by someone with a magical blade that emits some sort of heat.
Exactly. Magic helmet? That's awesome, Lord. Spilling magic helmet. All right.
They weren't successful with that, but we were. So. I'll
Maybe
just
must
check
have not
these.
had fireball.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of fire blade, they needed fireball and a tab.
And a Teb. It's a great way. Where did you go, Rogue? Okay, yeah, excellent investigation. You find 10 copper pennies, those crude weapons, and as you root through their dirty leathers and wraps and whatnot, all you find as well is that these orcs were clearly starving. You do make realization that their foot wraps are threadbare and worn, as though they have been traveling for a while without respite, time to replace them. And realizing this, you look around and you notice that indeed all of this band of orcs, their shoes, their boots, their wraps are all well worn, and in some cases you see here and there a toe protruding, blackened and frostbit from long miles across the tundra.
Okay, well then I'm happy. They're getting the rest that they deserved.
Really laying on the pity party for the orcs, aren't you?
Me? No.
No.
The more astute out there might know what I'm intimating at, but hey, who cares?
Oh.
All right, searching through all of them, you come up with a total of 36 copper, 10 silver, and your choice of orcish implements.
I'm not in need of any orcish implements today.
Me neither. I'll just take the obsidian that I found and just throw it in the bag with the others.
Okay, they're chips about the size of a silver dollar.
Well,
Unless
I'm not gonna go actively looking. If I see one, I'll take it.
Okay, perfect.
Unless anyone wanted to grab something for an orc disguise.
In the orc face.
I point to Tab and say that's his department.
I don't think the Dragonborn can get away with too many disguises.
Are you ready
Yeah,
to
I
proceed?
think
Okay.
I think we're ready.
Yeah, I
I'm
think so.
ready.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, you load back onto the sleds with a suitably impressed Helka, who gives you all new nods of respect towards each of you, that how quickly you handled the orcs, and she seems pleased that she hired you 5 as her bodyguards. You mount up onto the dog sleds and head north. DM is about to sneeze. Whoa, hold on.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
I think I just lost the ability to make that sound. Wow. You ever have those sneezes that are just like, well, we don't need to get into that.
No, let's go.
All right, 3 miles up ahead, you see the twinkling lights of the tiny berg that Helka points out and says, That is Bremen up ahead. Let me pull up Bremen. Alright. As you approach Bremen, feel free to move up to Bremen. Alright. Bremen is a small village that hunkers on the shore, the northern shore of a frozen river that Helka points out, and she says, "That's the Shangan. It was an excellent river for panning for wealth in minerals, and the fishermen would head out into the Mer Doldon prior to the long winter coming and freezing everything over. It was a nice little town founded by dwarven prospectors, so it was a lawful place until recently. It's kind of fallen on hard times. It really has. However, they should be eager to see us and our custom. Just don't go out of your way to insult anybody." And she comes rolling into the town, and she points out some locations.
We would insult them.
She says, "That's the only true inn in town. The buried treasures. In the center of town, there are 5 taverns, known as the 5 Tavern Center. Apparently they were all opened by brothers that couldn't agree on who was going to be in charge. They argued and all decided to open their own establishments. The town hall is the large building in the center there. I intend to get some rooms in the buried treasures. We have some hours until it's time to rest. The trip was rather quick, the fight notwithstanding. So unless you need me, I intend to bed down and have a meal."
I have a quick question.
Yes, John.
Which one of the taverns is the best?
Helka kind of
It's their
shrugs and
5.
says, "I really don't know, as I don't give them my custom. When I do have to pass through, I stay at the buried treasures, and I'm good with that."
Guess we'll have to bark roll.
Yeah, I think heading over to the 5 Tavern Center would be a good way to gather up some information. See what's going on here in Bremen.
So is this like a tavern food court with different taverns in one building, or
Like-
5 different taverns altogether?
It's
Like
fi-
Sbarro and
Or is it like food trucks?
Popeyes.
Like a bunch of food trucks?
It's like those small little neighborhoods in college areas where there's like 5 or 6 taverns like right next to each other and on the opposite corner and across the street.
This is Bar Rescue.
Yeah. Alright, so you head to the 5 Tavern Center. As you approach, you see that there are indeed 5 small, dumpy taverns that are homely, a bit shabby, clearly have seen better days. Over one, you see the sign that says Stones. Another says Even Keel. The River's Mouth, the Grumpy Moose, and the Black Bearded Brother. Which one do you choose to go into?
I vote for the even keel. That had me at hello.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was gonna say Stones, but even keel it is.
Yeah, I was going to say the moose too, Lauren, but even keel it is.
All right, you head into the Even Keel, and a lively chatter reaches your ears, and you see a crowd of 15 to 20 patrons, mostly dwarves, most having that look of being outdoorsmen, the ruddy complexions and hard, gnarled hands of those who do hard labor, maybe the aforementioned miners, sitting there, and they have large bowls in front of them of something that looks like it's got like crispy biscuits and some sort of gravy with meat and possibly an egg in it, and they are just eating it with gusto, and they are quite satisfied looking. A young dwarf comes out, couldn't be more than 45 years, and he walks up to you, and he looks up and he says, "Oh, hello! My name's Crumbs Ironpot. Welcome to the Even Keel. This is my establishment. I bought it from one of the brothers, and I'm happy to feed you and give you a drink. I'm a master chef, master baker, and master brewer. What kind of custom would you like, gents?"
I
Ale.
love this place.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I said what you said. Missed what you said, Master Half-Elf.
I said I love this place already.
Excellent.
Food and drink. I'll take whatever. Surprise me. Surprise me with your best feast for me and my friends.
Absolutely. Go ahead and take seats on the bench over there. I'll be right back in a snap. And the young dwarf just kind of pops to and disappears behind a door, and you hear the clatter of dishes and banging of heavy pot lids. And soon enough, he comes out with a heavy trencher, and he sets down in front of you 5 heavy wooden bowls. And inside of it, you see these large golden brown biscuits covered with this sumptuous gravy with pieces of, maybe it's actually sausage here in the 10 towns. Crazy. And on top are a pair of fried eggs and little drops of some sort of carnelian red drip sauce. And he hands each of you a spoon, and he says, "Ha, that's Crumbs Iron Pan's speciality. It's me biscuits and gravy. Dig in!" And then he also plops big tankards of ale in front of you, and it looks amazing.
Thank you, Master Dwarf.
Can I roll an insight to see if it's magically enhanced in any way?
If it's magically delicious? Absolutely.
I think everywhere else we've been, everybody's emaciated and starving, and this guy in this tavern has got all sorts of just to the works.
Delicacies.
Yeah.
What's in the
He's feeding us
pot?
orc. He's feeding us orc.
A chef doesn't turn down what he's got. No, but it does. It just smells mouth-wateringly good, and
I've heard that about orc.
it's not orc. It's not orc.
Yeah.
All right, do you
Tell
dig
us
in?
now.
As Finn is a little reluctant to eat anything, he is as an alchemist, he has an irrational fear of being poisoned or catching some sort of foodborne illness. He begins his ritual prayers, and in doing so casts detect poison and disease before eating.
There is absolutely none, and go ahead and make a perception check as you wrap up your prayers. As you finish,
22.
as you lift your head up from over the bowl, you notice out of the side of your eye that Iron Pan is giving you a knowing, bemused smile on his face, and he's like, I understand. I wouldn't trust strangers too much myself, but it's safe, I promise you, as one worshipful man to another.
Thank you again, Master Dwarf.
He bows. He says, "If there's anything else you need, feel free to yell out my name. It's Iron Pan." And he goes back to tending the other patrons.
I'll dig in now that Chuck has done the all clear on the poison and disease.
All right. As the food hits your mouth and begins to fill your belly, it is absolutely delicious. There is a wonderful piquant spiciness and little traces of heat that just course over your tongue, and your entire body just feels warmed and to a level that you wouldn't expect. You soon enough have to like shed those heavy cloaks, and you feel quite warm. Finn, as a cleric, and Teb, as a sorcerer, could you both please give me insight checks as you consume these bowls of food?
Sure.
All right.
23.
Excellent. You
Add
realize
coffee.
you realize that what you are eating is indeed magical, and you now have resistance to cold, and you feel like it will probably last you until at least the next day. It's so filling.
Wow.
Awesome.
We should take some to go.
Fill our thermos. Fill our
I
thermos.
Pass on that information to the rest of the crew and let them know that this food is not only not diseased or poisoned, but it's quite healthy and will protect against the cold.
Very good.
Alrighty. While you're sitting there, Iron Pan goes about his business. He does come back around and he says, I'm kind of embarrassed to mention it, but it's one gold dragon for your meals and drink.
I hand it over to him
He says,
for the group.
thank you. A craftsman is always proud to take payment for work well done. And he gives you a wink and he heads back to what he was doing.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
That was one per Charlie or one total?
One total.
Okay.
All right. What would you like to do while you are sitting there eating your magically delicious Iron Pan's biscuits and gravy?
Is our
I'd
employer
like
with us?
to-
Yeah, Elka stayed back
okay.
at the buried treasures.
Yeah, she went to the buried treasures.
Gotcha.
I'd like to go up to the barkeep and provide him with an additional gold coin, telling him that food was quite delicious, and asking if he is we're new in town and checking things out and wondering if there's perhaps any information that would be a worthy news to share with strangers who have an interest in interesting news.
Yeah, interested news. Well, there's plenty of interesting news hereabouts in these parts. I did speak to some whalers what come down from the Sea of Ice about a 10-day ago, and they said they spotted a strange mass sticking up from the floes. Oh, maybe 10, 12 leagues to the northwest of here. Could be a wreck that got trapped when the winter came and the ice flowed heavy and hard with a cracked hull, but it sounded interesting enough. Other things that I have heard, I heard that there's some problems to the east, that some tribes and whatnot are moving. There's something riling them up and forcing them to move west. Ain't seen none of it myself. And I did hear that there's some problems with a beastie out on the lake bothering the fisher folk, but you know, I only hear rumors of that sort, so I don't know whether I give truck to it or not. Fishermen are a superstitious lot, not like miners who are more of the earth, more level-headed, as it were.
Indeed. I would assume, though, that fishermen would know a beastie from a fish, so one would think if they saw one that they knew what they saw.
Aye, quite possibly they would, but you know, it gets cold and dark up here, and sometimes they go out with a bit of the drink to keep themselves fortified and warm, and who knows if it's something they really see or something they merely imagine in the shadows and the kicking ice.
Indeed.
Any other questions?
Charlie, I'm just going to listen around. Are there a lot more patrons in the area? In the bar?
Oh, yeah. There's between 15 and 20. You haven't taken an exact head count, but it's reasonably full.
I'm just going to listen in, see what I can hear, see if I can listen in on a conversation nearby.
There is a small party of dwarves, 4 of them, sitting a couple of tables away, and you can tell one of them is well into his cups, and as he gesticulates with that tankard, slopping ale all over his companions in the table, and they don't seem to be minding, he is regaling them with, I know, 'cause I've seen it. The frost giants ruled this land long ago. Their lords and chieftains, the Jarls, would meet atop a hill to the west to settle disputes. Their thrones still rest on that hill. I laid eyes on it myself. And then the other three just kind of, oh, no you ain't, Garl, you storyteller. What a tale you're weaving. No, it's not a lie, I did see it. And then they start bickering as dwarves are prone to do.
Okay. I'll just keep that in the back of my mind.
Okay. How about the sorcerer? What is the sorcerer doing?
After the sorcerer finishes his food, he's going to step out and go to the next tavern down.
Okay. You head next door to the river's mouth. You enter into the tavern, and unlike the even keel, this one is nearly abandoned. A dispirited dwarf sits behind the counter. A low, begrudging fire fitfully fights for life in the hearth, and there are two surly, obvious career inebriate dwarves sitting in opposite corners, kind of glowering at each other, hanging on to their tankards and occasionally taking slow, suspicious sips. And as you throw the door open, all three sets of eyes turn towards you and look you from toe to crown, crown to toe, and you're quite certain you hear one of them give a semi-quiet scoff in the back of his throat. This tavern is dark, cold, and there is the faint odor of, like, chilled sweat that hangs about the place in a thick miasma.
Eb's going to look around at both of them, at the bartender, and say, "This isn't where I left my beer," and step on out and go to the next place.
All right. Teb crunches through the snow over to the grumpy moose. Opening the door there, it is similar to the river's mouth. However, there is a more cheerful fire, and there are 6 dwarves clustered around a table, and you can hear the clatter of dice. There's low candlelight, and the innkeep, the bartender, another dwarf with really dark hair, older, easily 150, 200 years old, lined, weathered face. He looks over and he gives you a nod and he says, "Welcome in. What'll you have?"
"I'll have a round for me and everybody else over here." And he goes and sits down with the dwarves.
All right. The dwarves are clattering and throwing dice, and a couple of them look over at you, kind of gauging you. And soon enough, the innkeeper shows up with that huge tray with 7 tankards, and he plunks them all down. And he says, "That'll be 7 pieces of silver."
I pay it, and I look over at the dwarves, and I ask if I can get in on the game.
They look at you and they say, "Do you know how to play knucklebones?"
No idea, but I'm willing to learn and lose some money while I do it.
They all look at each other kind of with intent, with meaning, with purpose. They obviously are saying something amongst themselves. What is the Dragonborn doing?
The Dragonborn walked over to the table that Jahan was in, and he was going to strike up a conversation with one of the patrons there, telling him that he had heard that the weather was brutal up here, but is it always this brutal? It seemed that it was overly the weather was overly aggressive on our way into town.
We're sold, over delivered.
His fur thick eyebrows knot down there, salt and pepper gray, and the old flint gray eyes just take you in, and he looks at you and just growls in this low voice. You're from the south, ain't ya, Dragonborn?
I am.
Aye, is it this brutal? Aye, it's a long winter up here, but this is what we call spring.
Fair enough.
He kind of chuckles and just kind of... Is it always this brutal? Fancy armored up Dragonborn. Go back to your castles. He's just kind of got a rude, evil chuckle about him. Not malevolently evil, but kind of like he's delighting in your discomfiture.
Fair enough.
All right. Anything? Where would you like to proceed from here?
I think I'm going to go find the wizard.
All right. Coming back round to the halfling. What would you like to do, halfling?
I'm gonna head and check out the other two taverns. The two that have not been investigated at all.
All right, you have your choice of Stones or the Black-Bearded Brother.
Let's go to the Black-Bearded Brother.
All right. The Black-Bearded Brother, you enter in, and it just looks like a tavern that has fallen on very hard times. The dwarf who is at one of the tables wiping it down just kind of disinterestedly with real apathy. You know, he gives a heavy sigh, and you can see that at one point his hair probably was a lustrous black, but it's turned to an iron kind of gray as age is overcoming him. You know, he's probably 300 years old. He's getting up there in years. And he looks up and he's like, welcome to the Black-Bearded Brother, little master. Have a seat, and I will be more than happy to provide for your wants, provided that's ale or ardent spirits. Fortunately, I don't have much by way of victuals for you to nosh on. However, that young upstart Iron Pan over there at the Even Keel is known to produce a good meal.
I'll take a seat and strike up some conversation and just kind of get the general feel of town.
All right. Amongst with you, there are 5 different dwarves sitting in pairs and one sitting alone, and they're just kind of drinking and gazing into the firelight. They all seem older dwarves, clearly past their prime, in nadir for their years. And give me a perception check or an insight check as you look at this crowd of dwarves. Wow, what a maudlin, daydreamy lot. All right, cleric, how about you?
I think I will head over to Stones.
All right, you head into Stones, so named because it has low stone walls below a slate roof. This one, it's drafty in here. It is lit by a couple of braziers, a couple of torches. There's no actual hearth. Like, the braziers give off any heat in the room. And you find that as you move into the interior, there are definite patches that are way too warm next to the braziers, and then areas that are really, really cold. Like, no heat is getting to them. The patron comes out, the innkeep comes out. He's balding, bulbous red nose, and he's got red eyes, and he just has a sour smell about him. And the look on his face is that he's trying to keep something back, and you can just your fine senses are just assaulted by the presence, this earthy, just living presence of this dwarf as he stands there and kind of roils in front of you, and he's like, "Sit where you like. I'll get you what you want. What would you like? I've got ale, I've got biscuits, got some ardent spirits, a little bit of mead left from good mead. Last of it, though, they haven't replaced it in some time."
I think I will sample the good mead.
If you got the coin, it's quite expensive. It's 5 gold coin for a drop.
For a drop.
Aye, a drop. A drink.
Oh, a draught.
Aye, what'd you think I said, silly
You
elf?
said a drop. Alright.
Drop's as good as a drop.
I hear that. Oh, yeah, I'll pay.
I see the colour of
I
your
hear
metal.
it's delicious. I hear it's delicious.
He says,
I hand
indeed.
over the 5 gold pieces.
He looks at it and he bites one and his eyes kind of light up and then he disappears behind the bar and you see him pull out a big stone bottle and he uncorks it and you watch as the golden fluid, just a couple fingers worth, is poured into a small stone cup and he comes out to you, nearly falling once you think, and then he sets it in front of you with great ceremony and he seems to be standing there waiting for you to take a sip before he moves away.
I say thank you, and I go ahead and taste the ale. And then I'd like to ask him. I'm asking him. So, tell me, how is it that 5 brothers can't pull their resources together to have one large establishment?
Easy enough, elf. When 4 of them are daft rockheads with can't put a simple thought together in their heads and don't listen to the wisest of them, which of course is me.
Of course, yes. One of your brothers, at the very least, seems to be doing quite well for himself.
Oh, Iron Pen. Crumbs Iron Pen. He's not me brother. He came in and bought the place not too long ago. Maybe 4, 5, 10 days ago. Turned it right around. Somehow folks is able to find the coin necessary to eat his slop.
Oh, how is it that he is able to? How is it he is able to turn around his establishment so quickly, and neither you nor your brothers are able to do the same?
I know the reason. Bloody witchcraft is what it is. Why?
How so?
Look at it. I've got an establishment just as good as his. Granted, maybe I'm not the cook he is. Always going on and dottering about a craftsman, having pride in his product. Obviously, we're dwarves, but we're also tavern owners, and our product is made for us, and we just pour it. So I take pride in pouring now, don't I? I don't know. He's a popping, strumping little bluebird, very impressed with himself. Arrogant little muffin head. He just kind of gives him a small shake of apoplectic rage. Even considering what Crumb's Iron Pan is about.
So which of the brothers did he purchase his establishment from? And where's that brother now?
The youngest brother, Toba. Toba took his coin and headed south towards Luskin, the city of sails. Said he was gonna go someplace warm. Dwarf racism, yeah.
Well, can't really blame him there. It's awfully cool here.
It's fine enough if you go and sit by one of the braziers. Silly elf. He kind of staggers away and stops for a moment and leans on a table. We move back over to Jahan, the monk.
I'm actually gonna go talk to Iron Pan
All right.
and kind of ask the same question. I was the one who came into this, and I'm kind of glad I did. Your food is phenomenal.
He beams. He's like, Thank you. I appreciate it. A true craftsman always appreciates words of encouragement and compliment when his product and crafts are appreciated by those they're meant for.
Are the other four I mean, I haven't visited the other four. What are they as good as yours, or do they have something different to offer? Or...
I didn't know. I've never taken a care to visit their establishment. So busy am I perfecting my craft. As I said, I'm a chef, I'm a baker, and I'm a brewer. And I'm pretty proud of my berry tarts, too.
Oh, awesome! I'll take one of those if you don't mind. The berry tart.
I absolutely do not. And he comes back, and you notice that the berry tart, after he comes out of the kitchen, is like a turnover, right? And on the outside of it is an extra little pastry decoration of the shape of a gear. And he hands it to you on a piece of waxed paper, and he says, "Enjoy in health. This is my gift to you."
And to your health as well. And I take a bite.
All right. You take a bite, and it is delicious. And even though you are without need, you recognize the effects as though you had just eaten something that would heal you of damage, like a healing potion. You're like, oh.
Iron Pan, do you
Aye?
take orders to go?
Well, if I've got it to go, absolutely. You're more than welcome to take me food out with you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Aye, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. You're always welcome back here at the Even Keel.
Thank you. I'll go sit and finish my tart and just listen around the bar.
Okay, back to the sorcerer. So they're looking at you, and they are all kind of giving you the eyes. Feel free to make an insight check. Berry tots. Insight. All right, you get the feeling that they are all scheming between the six of themselves to maybe cheat you of some coin.
Okay. So Teb's background is charlatan, of course, but personality-wise, he's a born gambler, and he doesn't really play fair. So he's gonna pretend he doesn't know what's going on.
All right. So while you're playing the game, you watch them play, and go ahead and I want you to give me a perception to see if you can catch how they're doing it. They're not very skilled. They're just gruff old dwarf miners, so it's going to be a DC of 12. Oh yeah, you have them down in spades. You realize that they're just clumsily trying to switch the die out, and so bad are they that they don't realize that the one die, the weighted dragon bone die, right, is a completely different shade than the other two. But they think they're very, very clever. So what we are going to need is, these dwarves are not very bright, so if you are going to cheat them in return, we will need some sleight of hand checks. And you will be wanting to beat a 12 as they try to put it over on you.
Okay.
Oh, all right. As you try to switch the dice back, one of the dice comes clattering out on the table, so there are now...
Give me 1 second.
All right, what do you got?
So I'm gonna reach out and actually no, I'm not gonna use that. Never mind.
What were you gonna do? Tab.
Couldn't do it. Not gonna do it.
All right. The dwarves kind of look at it, and there's a odd moment of like coughs and splutters, and then one turns and says, "What are you trying to do? Cheat us?" And we will go back to the Dragonborn.
Have I entered the bar yet?
Absolutely. You went into
okay.
You went into
The bar tab is
you went into the black bearded brother. No,
Okay.
that was it. That was
He went to go to the wizard's bar.
So the bar Teb's in.
Yeah, that was the river's mouth. The river's mouth.
So-
Sidebars, I'm now losing where you all are. Okay, as you throw
Oh.
open the door, you see the sorcerer sitting at a table, standing with his hand out, and there are 3 dice on the table, and the dwarves are all eyeballing your companion angrily.
I'm not noticing me so much as they are engulfed in what's transpiring before them, I assume.
Correct.
So I'm going to nonchalantly, as much as a Dragonborn can do, kind of go up to the bar and pay very close attention to what's going on.
All right. As you hear them argue, it is quite clear that Teb was caught trying to switch the dice, and the replacement die that he was trying to switch came tumbling out on the table in a most inopportune moment, and the sorcerer is, as the dwarves are all right.
Understanding that he very well could be in trouble, I am preparing myself.
Okay. Halfling.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's me. All right, I'm no, I'm sitting in the bar with the gentleman that I know nothing about because the floor is pretty, and I'm just gonna strike casual conversation with the barkeep and kind of pay attention to my surroundings a little. It's perception.
Okay. Just the they're all old, and they just seem lost in the heavy cobwebs of memory and nostalgia. And other than the occasional pop of pitch in the fire, the occasional clearing of a throat or sniff of a thick dwarven nose, maybe a small throat clearing that could be the start of a sob, and the occasional thump or shift on a bench. The place is silent.
Okay. Then I'll sit here and nurse an ale and for the moment.
Okay. All right. We come back around to the cleric.
Yeah, as the night starts to, or the evening starts to wane on, I will try to gather up my companions so we can head back to the buried treasures. So I would be heading from bar to bar looking for them.
All right. As you head from the black-bearded brother into the grumpy moose, I think that was Dysall was in the grumpy moose, correct?
Dysall was in Blackbearded Brother. Chuck was in Stones.
Stones. Okay. Yeah. So you go into the grumpy moose and no one is there. It's just dark as described. You head into the black-bearded brother, and no, other way around. You head into Stones, because Chuck was in the Black-Bearded Brother. You head into Stones, you see the halfling, you collect him up. Do you want to go into the Even Keel, where you last saw the monk, or do you want to go after the sorcerer and the dragonborn?
Either or. I don't know where either of them are at, so I would go to the next closest bar.
All right. You enter into the Even Keel, and you see the monk munching on what looks to be a berry tart, and he has kind of a contented look on his face.
I'll attempt to get his attention.
All right.
And this is delicious.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want one?
Sure, that sounds delicious. Thank you.
Give my friend one, and we have to come back to talk about this food to go. What time are you open tomorrow?
Well, if there is such a thing as dawn, I'm here usually 2 hours before it, getting the bacon's ready for the day. But if you want, I'm more than happy to set you up. I have a half dozen tarts remaining. I have to make more in the morrow. But yeah, you know they're a bit special. They're a bit
I-
special.
We're gonna need 2 orders for my friends of the biscuits and gravy and tarts for our trip.
How many tarts?
5, 6, 12. 12 tarts and 12 biscuits and gravy packaged.
Guess I'm not going to bed tonight. Fine, it'll be ready.
Awesome.
I do have to let you know, though, that, there's... It might be a wee bit expensive, a special order like that. I don't have a whole bunch of supplies. It would mean shorting some of my regular customers. I would have to ask you, it'd be about 100 gold bits to cover all the materials and the time, the prayers.
Yeah, I nod to John. We get that.
Okay.
Says, excellent! More than happy to do it. And you head into the last of the bars, the river's mouth. And as you are leaned up against the bar, Dragonborn, the dwarves start to pull daggers and glower at the sorcerer. Teb, what are you going to do?
Eb's going to look at them openly and honestly and say, look, before we started playing, I saw you guys switch out the dice. So I thought part of the game was switching out a dice. Am I mistaken? Is this wrong?
All right.
And I point at the one that looks odd that we know is the way to dice. I said, that one. So I was trying to swap that one with this one. That's not the way the game is played?
What? They all look down. Go ahead and give me a persuasion roll. A couple of them look kind of shamefaced and like, oh, I. Another one is like, he looks embarrassed. The other 3 kind of look ready to stick to their guns. But at the head of the table, the one who is running the game, just this angry-faced, black-bearded dwarf kind of glowers at you, and he says, "So you're calling me a cheater?"
I don't understand. Was this not the way the game is played? I didn't call you a cheater. What are we doing?
All right, give me another persuasion roll. Or an intimidate, whichever way you want to go. All right, the 2 on either side of him that seem kind of sticking to their guns, they kind of like, oh, he's on to us. And one of them leads, McCready, just drop it, man, drop it. McCready looks at you and he says, I don't like what you're saying. Are you ready to fight to back up your words, elf? And you notice the other dwarves start to slowly back away from the table with a scrape of tables and chairs.
I look at him and say, do you really want to do this? Do you see the Dragonborn over at the table? The fire-breathing Dragonborn at the bar?
All right, he looks up and he sees TL standing at the bar. That is an intimidation with help, so go ahead and make an intimidation with advantage, please.
And as I do it, I tell him, and there's 5 more coming.
Yeah, he says, 5? 5? And it's that moment that the door throws open, and in come the cleric, the monk, and the halfling. McCready looks over, and he's like, well, I guess it's time to call it an evening, lads. And he stands up and starts putting his furs on, and he's scraping his coins into his bag, and he grabs all 3 of the dice and puts them into his bag, and he stumps out, and the dwarf, broad and thick, kind of shoulders his way past you out into the streets of Bremen.
I wave at the guys as they come in. Just making friends.
These tarts are delicious. I'm getting some to go.
Yeah, I will shake my head at Teb and say, we probably should be getting to the inn now that you're
Agreed.
done playing.
Did you win?
Almost. There was
Oh.
this thing that happened.
Oh,
Yeah, there's always a thing that happens.
I said he won in one way. He's
That's
walking
good.
out of here with his hands attached to his body still.
Nice.
All right, you head out into the streets of Bremen, and you see a couple of dwarfs dressed like town guards with torches, and one of them shouts out the name, Shilskar! Shilskar! Where are you old codger? Shilskar! And the other one's, Dobelgroth! Dobelgroth Shilskar! Answer, you old coot! And they see you, and they kind of nod as they're walking around, like, shouting into the darkness and the blowing snow. You quickly cross the town because it's not very big, and you find the buried treasures. It is an inn that clearly once catered to the treasure seekers that ply the Shanegarn River, but has since fallen on hard times. The human innkeeper, she comes up to you. She's middle-aged, seems nice enough, has an worried air about her. She introduced herself. My name's Cora Mulfoon. Welcome, whatever you need. Miss Helka has paid for your rooms for the night, and here are the keys. And if there's anything you need at all, please do not hesitate to ask. Anything you need to make your stay more comfortable here at the Buried Treasures. And she seems positively fussy over the five of you.
Is there anything that you need that we can help you with?
No,
Yeah,
just...
I'd like roll insight, just to get a sense of maybe why she's so anxious.
Okay, go right ahead.
$17.
Something is indeed bothering Cora Mulfoon. You can tell that even though you are apparently the only patrons in the inn, you hear no other noises and it's rather quiet. And you can tell that as when a business falls on hard times, that's difficult enough. But it seems as though for an older human woman, frailer, that there would be a lot of work to do, like hauling in firewood and things like that. And
Is he corporal yet, or was
it begs the questions. Oh, hey, thank you, Roll for Damage. LOL. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the follow. And somebody did send me a note that the sounds aren't working. I will try and check into that when we take our break in about 25 minutes. You can tell that she seems it's a lot of work for one solitary human woman. You need to mute, Teb. So yeah, it just seems like a little non sequitur that she's here alone.
Before we finish up in the inn, I assume this is where we're staying for the evening, right? Our rooms have been accommodated and everything.
Correct.
Before I retire, I want to go back to the inn what was the name of the inn with the friendly fellow with the tarts and whatnot?
The Even Keel. Yeah.
Even Keel. I'd like to make before I go to bed for the evening, I'd like to run back there real quick. So we can follow back up with that once we're done in here.
Okay, sure. Obviously, Cora has a story to tell.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Do you guys head to your rooms? Do you ply Cora for more information? What does the party do or say?
Yeah, I would check in with Cora, see if everything is okay. She seems a little bothered, anxious.
Oh, there's no, it's fine. It's not of your concern. She reaches out and pats your hand. She's like, don't worry. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Just so long as you have a pleasant stay. That's of the utmost importance right now.
Her name was Helga.
Cora. Helga
Cora.
is your Cora.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cora. Cora
Cora,
Mulford.
in all fairness, we're helping Helga. If you need help, we're here for the night. Just suggestion. We're not mean people. We don't like mean people. And we're probably leaving in the morning, so willing to help.
Roll a persuasion for me, please.
Nah.
She kind of looks at you and she says, I appreciate it, but I'm not one to air my soiled linens in public, as it were. I just want you to be, to have a good evening's rest. Truly, sweet Master Elf. Whoa! Thank you, Roll for Damage. Roll for Damage just subscribed. Everyone say, woot woot, for 6 months. Ah!
Thank you, Roll
Holy
for
crap!
Damage.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And we got to
Thank
get the da 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 da. Hey! All right. Okay, so yeah, Cora, she seems unwilling to share her burdens and troubles with who are essentially a group of strangers.
Well, Cora, we're not strangers anymore. Now that we've met. Indeed, I second what my companion said, and if there's anything that we can do, doesn't hurt to tell us what that might be. Perhaps we can help, perhaps we can't.
Give me a persuasion with advantage, please.
Eb reminds, we are leaving tomorrow, and we have a way of making problems go away.
Do you want extra advantage? All right. Okay, with that, yeah. Okay, with the 18, Cora seems to, her shoulders sag and her otherwise happy-ish expression just melts off of her face, and it is instantly replaced with a sad, grieving face of a woman much older than you originally assumed, as you see just the weight of her pressures just drape over her like a heavy, heavy blanket of emotional pain. And she lets out this sigh. She says, "It's my son, Harwar. He left. Oh, 2 months ago. He was always a helpful young man. He helped me here at the Buried Treasures, and I mean, times were definitely difficult since the coming of the winter and since the river froze over and the prospectors were not able to stay, but he went out to find Speaker Shalescar one evening and in a blizzard, and he got separated. The Speaker was brought back safely, but he got separated and did not come back for a couple days. When he did return, he had frostbite, very bad frostbite, and he could barely walk or speak. And I noticed he seemed changed. He had always been so sweet and loving and gentle with me, but now he was mean and cruel and would say horrible things and would argue with me over helping around the inn, which was never like him. He was always such a good boy. I thought it was very uncharacteristic of him. And anyhow, perhaps a 10-day passed, and I was doing cleaning, and I was in his room, and I found a strange shard of like blackish purplish glass. He found me while I was holding it and looking at it, and he raged at me and said terrible, vile things. He made threats that were I to ever touch it again, that he would beat me within an inch of his life. Me, his own mother. Oh, the very next day, a pair of tieflings, a man and a woman arrived, and they spoke to Harar and offered him sanctuary at some castle somewhere, and he left with them willingly, packed up immediately, and they left, and that was the last that I ever saw him. What I did notice, however, is that both of the tieflings were wearing amulets that were made of the same stone and shaped just like the shard that Hawar had. I miss him terribly. I hope he's still alive. I don't know what became of him. So, but yes, they did mention something of a castle, and I only know of 2 castles in the 10 towns. There's one in Caer Dineval, and there's a ruined one at Caer Konig. Maybe they took him there. I don't have the strength or money or ability to go and see for myself. I have to stay here and keep the inn operating, as meager as it is. It's all I have left now that my son is gone. I don't know what you can do with this, but I do appreciate you listening. But please, is there anything I can do for you? Some tea, some broth, an extra blanket? Just say the word.
Much appreciated. Perhaps you could describe what the symbol on the amulet looked like, so that if we might see it in the future, we would recognize it.
Or if you can draw it in exact detail.
With diagrammatic specifications and measurements?
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
she shakes her head and it's like, no, it was just a piece of like stone glass, like a.
Would Jahan have a piece of that dragon glass nearby? Is the sled outside?
Yeah, everything was.
I'll go
there.
outside and just grab a piece and come back in.
All right. You bring it in, and she says, "Yes, just like that." But it was of a different color, and it had like a sort of aubergine glow to it. That when it caught the light, that seemed to fluoresce and have a life and a light of its own. This very strange purpley color, like sometimes is seen in Aurel's lights to the north. Phoenix!
Hey, Phoenix.
Hey there.
For some reason, I knew this dragon glass had something with it. I don't know what that something is, but...
Well, we will certainly keep a lookout for your son in our travels, perhaps. They will take us to Caer Dineval or Caer Konig, and we will search for him. And you said his name was Horwater?
Harar.
Sorry.
Or water.
Harar?
Family values, one of the things we offer here at DM Charlie Gaming.
I think that's commonly referred to as rumplements.
Yeah, or water.
No wonder he ran away.
Boone's Farm, 2 liters of joy, $1.25.
MD 2020.
Oh.
Night Train.
Oh, brother.
Complete aside, does
Oh,
anyone know
brother.
what squeeze is?
I assume, based off the conversation we're having, some sort of alcoholic beverage.
Of a sort. You know you've been in dark circles when you know what squeeze is. It's you take a dirty wool sock, drop sterno in the toe, and you squeeze the juice out. And you're blind for the next 12 hours. Not that I ever drank it. But I know some people who did.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
That's not good.
Zokora Mulfoon, who still has her vision because she will not drink squeeze.
Or the horror water.
Or the horror water, says Harar, she says there was no etching upon the shard of glass or on the amulets the tieflings wore. And Harar, just, if you find him and he's alive and can return to let me know, that's all a mother can ask. If not, just let him know that I love him and I miss him and I wish he would come home.
I will certainly pass on the message should we run across him.
All right. Let's protect innocent Teb's ears. He's innocent. He's most innocent. All right, the night progresses without incident. If you have not, you may take a full rest. Yes.
I'd like to head over to
You want to head over to the Even Keel and Grub's Iron Pan. You arrive at the Even Keel, and there are sounds and smells of cooking emanating from underneath the door. And when you walk in, you can hear Iron Pan in the back just cooking away, whistling. He's singing like little cooking shanties. And go ahead and give me a religion check as you walk in.
Yes, sir. Let me get down to... There it is. Very good.
The songs that he is singing, they have an almost sepulchral, almost chant-like quality to them, as though while he is in the kitchen crafting, he is giving abeyance to some higher power. And when you approach the kitchen and throw open the door, you see that he is throwing ingredients into his pots and onto the flours and doughs and whatnot, and they float down, not like directly and hard like you would expect, but they float down like snowflakes, and they land on the food and kind of disappear into the entire concoctions or into the flour, and he just seems very, very happy perfecting his craft.
Can I see him? Obviously, I can see what he's doing.
Throw the door open, and he's...
I asked him to come if I could have a word with him.
All right. Grub's Iron Pan. He kind of startles, and he straightens up his apron and his kilt, and he dusts his hands, even though he's like covered in flour. And he turns around, and he's like, good to see you, Master Dragonborn. Back for seconds. I knew you fellows had appetites to beat a halfling.
I say no. I appreciate the servings that he gave me earlier in the night, and my fellow monk has mentioned that he is preparing quite the going away feast for us once we get out on the roads. And I wanted to thank him very much for preparing the foods for us. And I was wondering if I could ask him a personal question. Personal for me, anyways. I don't suppose you see many of my kind in your towns, do you?
Here and there. I think I saw another Dragonborn, a big white fellow with a angry visage, pass through here. 3-10 days ago.
Have you seen any blue kind?
Have to say you're the first I've seen in many a long month.
I'm looking for a female of my kind. A female.
Lonely, are you? It happens to the best of us.
She's my sister.
Oh, I apologize.
I
don't know how it works in Dragonborn families, unless that's your... I'm sorry, what? So you're looking
very
for
similar as it does in other families. Yes, and I had heard that she had come up north, and I was hoping that maybe somebody had seen her.
Nay, I tain't, but I'll keep my eyes open. I would ask what she looks like, but I can assume I already know.
Very much like me, but female. If you can tell the difference.
Aye, I'd be happy to.
I appreciate that.
So, since you are clutchlings together, should I just tell her you're looking for her, or do you want to leave a message? Or a letter, perhaps?
She may not be in a position to speak, or she may be in danger.
Oh, now that is serious. Would she need aid?
Yes, but I don't know. She was taken from my family.
Abducted?
Yes, sort of. Against her will. She was taken from my family against her will.
So what you're saying is your papa didn't approve of her suitor?
No. My family was... let's just say, without getting into it, I need to find her, and I had heard she'd come north.
That is some dark crap. If you haven't seen it out there in Twitchland, Finn put into chat, Finn hides his blue leather boots. Ooh, morbid, very macabre.
Terrible.
All right. He nods. He says, "Aye. All jesting aside, if I see her, I'll tell her that you're looking for her. And I think I heard your companions say your name is Teal."
That's correct.
All right. Aye, it'd be my pleasure, especially if you come back and take my custom again.
Absolutely, we will.
Aye. And can you tell your companion, the half elf, that his order will be ready just right at dawn. A dozen biscuits and gravy and a dozen of the berry tarts.
I will do that. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Travel safe, great Dragonborn.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Aye. Okay, you return back to the buried treasures?
Yes, I do.
Okay. If you are in need, you may take the benefit of a long rest. Was there anything you wanted to do before the morning and you head out with Helka back to the north?
Since Jahan only needs 4 hours, he's gonna get up and after the 4 hours and use his what is that called? Hold on. City Secrets to just kind of look for any unnormal passageways to see if anything's out of the
Give
ordinary.
me an investigation with advantage, please, as you creep around the tiny village of Bremen.
You said investigation, right?
Yes, please.
15?
Stalking up and down the tiny, frozen dirt tracks that the buildings sit upon, you realize this village is maybe 150 souls. Looking at the boot treads in the frozen mud, in the verges of the snow, you realize it's mostly, probably 70% dwarves. Nothing seems really untoward or, hey, thank you, Rad Space Wizard. Welcome to the stream. We hope we're entertaining. We really do.
How are you?
We really, really do. All
Thank you.
right. Yeah, you don't see anything that really implies that there's any kind of nightlife or underworld here in Bremen. Have you ever had the pleasure of visiting like a lumber town up in the mountains?
Once, yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's the kind of place where all the businesses close at 5 p.m. They don't open on Sunday, and the one thing that you always hear is the wilderness.
Quiet.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
So.
All right. I'll head back to the inn and just kind of hang out until we go fetch our to-go bags.
Okay. You leave the next morning, all refreshed and rejoined. You get back to the even keel, and you see there is Crumb's iron pan, and he has 6 identical packages wrapped up, and he leans over to you and he says, "I assume that's how you wanted it. 2 of each for everyone. Hey, I wondered who the 6 was for. Pleasure to see you again, Helka." And she nods. You know, she's like, "Oh, Crumbs, good to see you." And you take your goods in hand, and then
I'll hand them the 100.
He takes it without counting it, and he says, "I thank you very much. You're always welcome back at the even keel."
I shake his hand.
He shakes your hand, and he holds it just a second too long. No, he doesn't. All right.
It looks deeply and meaningfully into your eyes.
Oh, no, we're not going there. All right. And you head out into the wilds. Helka points your sleds north as you begin mushing north into that preternatural light, that perma-twilight that is Icewind Dale. So, go ahead and proceed. Are you taking any precautions or anything like that?
We got targets.
I don't-
Good to go.
Northwest.
I think, I think with just other than keeping our eyes peeled and such, we will move on. I don't know what other precautions we could take at this point.
Yeah, we're riding dog carts.
I assume we would ready our snow boots and any kind of cleats or crampons that we would need, maybe have them at the ready.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that we would be wearing that gear when we're traveling anyway, but
Right. That's
And keeping a watchful eye out for anything out of the ordinary as we travel.
right, like groups of
Orcs,
famished orcs.
dragons.
Okay. Go ahead and move 3 hexes, whatever direction you want, but I would hope northwest, because that's where your destination lies, where Helka points the dogs. You don't perceive anything, Dicel. To the north, out above the sea of moving ice, you begin to see some spectral lights begin to dance and twist high along the skyline above the horizon. Just these ribbons and veils of green and pale yellow, and the occasional swipe of translucent red as Oral's lights begin to dance and light up the north the further you progress. You may move ahead 3 more. Overhead, over the sea of moving ice, Oral's lights begin to dance and twist with fury. Suddenly, as you watch, they part and rip as a bright white and neon green light rips through the very fabric of the sky. As you are watching, the light grows brighter and brighter, seeming to descend from the sky above you, growing terrible, and you can see the floes out on the ice, miles and miles ahead of you, lit by this streaking shape that comes over the sky towards you. The meteor runs through the inky sky, illuminating the flat tundra behind you for miles as it rushes south towards you. It passes overhead, spitting sparks of gold and silver as purple and red fingers of electricity dance and skitter through the flaming tails as it arcs high overhead into the street and smear your vision as though the thing is hard to behold. And then it arcs downward, passing over the 10 pounds, and then there is a flash! The massive explosion and bright light lights up the entire Icewind Dale for leagues and leagues as far as you can see. And at that point, we will take a 10-minute break before we come back and I answer all of your questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. All right. We'll see you all back here in 10 minutes, all of you out there in Twitch land. Yeah, thank you. All right.
See you in a little bit.
All right, we are on our way back in, but I think things kind of... Oh, they did not. Nice. You know how sometimes, like, all your windows will close? Yay! Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the bits. Things will just kind of shut down on you. Really weird. They did, and I was panicked. No need to. No need to. Got a request. All right, so... Yes, so this weird purple and green meteorite goes flashing overhead, streaking past you towards the south. From the light of this huge ball of fire lights up all of the 10 towns and the Icewind Dale for as far as you can see, and you watch it descend and land with a huge boom and flash of light there before the base, the foothills of the spine of the world. And because it was asked and I made this and I like it, we get to listen to it again. It's about 45 seconds of music, so drama. Yes, I will take your kudos and your hearty approbations there in chat. I want the awe of my players. Come on, awe. And I would like to shout out to Professor English Muffin. Welcome for joining the stream, Tiger. Get to see what your dad does in his free time. So dramatic music. This is courtesy of Travis Savoy of RPG Music Maker. I took a piece there, and then I used other elements from Epidemic Sound and other free resources from YouTube. Mashed it all together in Audacity, and don't want to know what that boom actually is, but I love that boom. All right, does the party have any questions about what you just observed? Or any comments, anything like that?
How, can we tell how far away it landed?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a perception to try and to determine how far south it actually crashed into the earth. Probably easily 20 to 30 leagues south, maybe somewhere between 70 miles or so.
Wow.
Feels like, yeah, it's not like let's go there right now and look at it,
yeah.
But you saw it come down really hard.
I'm gonna say to Helga, what in God's name was that?
Helga is staring up at the fiery rent in the sky, and her head is turning back to that rapidly collapsing rip inside Oral's lights that are dancing, that are just closing and collapsing. As you look from beyond, up inside of that Aurora Borealis, you see weird purplish alien and orange stars that kind of flash and strobe in a manner that you have never seen before. And then almost as quickly as it appeared, it seems to slam shut, and the streak that hails overhead, the after image, that retinal burn, begins to fade away. And the half-elf merchant looks at you and says, I have no godly idea what that was.
Well, it looks like that may be the way we need to go. Find out.
Helga says, well, we have trade to do. We're going to go purchase the whale oil, yes?
Okay.
And you will escort me back to Bryn Shander. That was our agreement.
I guess.
That was. And it is.
This is why I don't hire adventurers. Always wanting to run off to the next shiny thing.
Yes.
Look at it.
But it's so fluffy.
Right? And as you watch to the south, you can see that glow, that radiance dissipates and slowly reduces. Like, first it's this huge burning light way off in the distance, and then it quickly collapses, and then this little greenish purple ember way, way, way off. More of an idea than an actual point of light on the dark band of tundra at the foothills of the spine of the world disappears. All right.
Out of gold at the end of the rainbow.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for all the bits. That's awesome. I appreciate it very much. So, and thank you for the Show Love 100. All right. Anything else the party discuss? What does the party discuss about the event that you just saw unfold overhead?
I'd like
What do you
to.
What do you suppose that was all about? I mean,
Yeah.
that's all I could think to say. You know, like
You know, this
We
is
just-
why this is why we're an experiment. You had art.
Oh,
I'm
nice.
just mumbling about having to finish this
Cool.
stupid job before we can go look.
well, then let's get to it then.
So fluffy. All right.
Can I roll an insight or an arcana check to see if I can try and figure out what that might have come from,
Absolutely.
or history?
And can I use a deception to try to convince her that we should check that out?
You may certainly try. John, yes. You make whichever one you choose. Arcana, Insight, History. Alright, Helka looks at you, Halfling, and just, even though she's wearing mittens, you get the feeling that she is sending a gesture your way that seems that she does not approve of your suggestion. Jahan, you recall hearing stories around the hearth during your childhood from your father's people, the long-lived elves, and not the younger ones, the older ones that have lived generations and generations in human terms, the ones that have seen season, century after century, and they would whisper tales about straying meteors streaking across the sky and landing off over the horizon. And then when tradesmen or explorers or hunters would head that direction, some days later, they would return with tales of areas of land being completely despoiled and ravaged, of weird, bizarre plants and creatures that would glump and slide and splunge through the undergrowth, hunting and ravening. They would return with stories of their companions being stricken, suddenly acting as though they were no longer of their own volition. They would return with tales of horror. You recall that these stories were always told in hushed tones, as though the mere speaking of them might call down some sort of dread or doom. Thank you very much, Phoenix. Thank you, Professor English Muffin. Are you guys even talking? Are you on mute? Or are you just all smiling?
I'm just smiling at what Teb said in
What
the
did
chat.
Jeff say? Mumbling loud enough for a merchant here. Bet that star metal is going to be worth a fortune. Who knows? And with it you shall fade. You shall forge Narsil, Sword of the West.
Can I put two and two together based on what I heard from my father's family versus what was said from the innkeeper on her son, and any kind of correlation with the dragon glass and him acting different afterwards. Can I kind of
I see. Is there a
you know a
Correlation.
correlation? Yeah, I was looking for a different word for correlation, but
yeah, okay. Give me an insight as you ponder upon these things. It seems as though what Cora was telling you about Harar was that he changed, but he was still essentially himself. And the stories told by your elders and the great-grands of your village were more about beings,
got it.
being more overtaken and being driven from without.
Jahan, as we're traveling, just picks up a piece of the dragon glass, and he's gonna look through it at that hue that's still left in the distance. Does he see anything different?
I wish we had DM chat. Yes. Yes, you do. Brilliant. Thank you, Asking Bard. You look through the glass, and as that glow fades away and disappears, you notice that as you gaze through the stone, you still see what looks to be like energy. Like coruscating, pillowy waves of energy coming off of it in dark-hued tones of deep ambers and deep carnelian reds. And then when you move the stone away, there's nothing that you can see, and then you hold the stone back up and you're still able to see the emanation of that energy off in the distance.
How about in the rip? Is it still there as well?
The rip has sealed. It collapsed with a clap.
Okay.
Behind
Okay.
You, yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Anyone else? I think you're muted, Cleric. Thank you, Anonymous
I'm all
Juror.
for moving forward towards the fish oil.
All right. How about the halfling? After your patron.
Yep.
Thank you, Asking Bard. All right. Sorcerer.
Yeah, Teb's convinced Helga's not going to let us go back, so we might as well keep going.
All right. Dragonborn.
I am ready. I'm very curious about what that was all about. I want to get the mission that we have the current mission that we've undertaken done.
All right. Perfect. I get it. You're bored. I get it.
No. I'm excited to get this. I mean, come on. How often do you see a meteor striking, ripping across the sky? I want to go see the other end of it.
Right on. All right, go ahead and proceed northwesterly as a disturbed Helka just kind of stands on the running boards of her sled and just kind of is looking around almost with a certain degree of paranoia now.
I have a question. Does the group have any kind of telescope, or what do they call those?
Spyglass.
Spyglass? Do we have a spyglass?
I know I don't.
I'm gonna ask Cora if she's got a spyglass.
I don't think I do.
Helka looks at you and she says, "That would be useful, but no, I don't. I've never been able to find one up here for less than 100 gold bits, and that's too much. And I've never traveled south to, say, Luskin or Waterdeep, where they would definitely be more affordable."
Okay.
Wasn't able to get it working. I apologize. I will look at the sounds. I am very sorry, One Killer Kitten. I know that is unacceptable!
I have navigator's tools and water vehicle, but I don't have a spyglass specifically.
Yeah, the navigator's tools would be like a sextant and a compass
Watch your-
being the
Watch your mouth.
yeah,
The family show.
the compass being the 2 points, not a compass. Alright, if you want, you can still have 2 more hexes to travel.
Oh,
Alright, and as you approach, you see off in the distance on a floe of ice, you see a lonely stone cabin and a bell. Let's see here, off in the distance. Let me take us there.
As he sips his whore water.
Oh god, I am. Hello out there in Twitchland, interested in playing a Rime of the Frostmaiden, a Twitch experiment? Please send me an email at No, I'm kidding. Alright. Alright, let me put you guys out here. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
How long did we travel up to here, Charlie, today? Hours?
About
Should be about
6.
midday.
A little after.
Little after.
But it's hard to gauge by the unending twilight that is the far north of the dale. And ignore the big black spot. That is just filler art for me. So you're not missing out on anything. And over here to your right, you see the small stone cabin. Give the DM 1 second to catch up to you. A small domed cabin faces the bay. A bloated door covered in ice and dormant barnacles hang slightly ajar on rusted hinges. Ahead of you, you see a rowboat stuck in the ice, trapped against a 10-foot long wooden pier. The pier is ice glazed and looks slippery. You see across from you, at a distance of about 30 feet, appears to be a small island with a small jetty coming out from it, and there is a bell at the end of the dock. Helka looks at that, and she looks around and she says, maybe that's the bell we need to ring to summon this Angajuk.
Why don't we try the door first? See if anybody's home.
Yeah, we should probably see if anybody's here before we start ringing bells.
And if we may also want to, because if what I think is true, I think this food has some kind of resistance against the cold. We may want to eat first before we go moving forward, since we traveled all day.
Angajuk. Okay.
I like Angajuk.
Angajuk. Yeah, up here in the Pacific Northwest, we speak with the Aleut pronunciation, sir. It's a hard J on everything. No, Angajuk. We'll go by the pronunciation guide. Thank you very much. All right. So, yes, you want to go into the cabin and partake of your food?
Yeah, well, let's see if anybody's in there first before we go using it as a break room.
Okay. So you head over to the cabin. The door, as I said, looks frozen over. It's covered in ice, and it is slightly ajar. No warmth emanates from that gap in the doorway. Yeah, they are. They really are.
I'm gonna outside of the cabin. I'm gonna say hello. Is anyone home?
Only the unceasing cold wind replies.
Ooh, what's it say?
It says, "Woo, woo."
Maybe we should use the break room.
Ugh. I have no pride anymore.
All right, Jahan's gonna sit down and say, well, since nobody's here, he's gonna put his back up against the cabin, and he's gonna open up his pouch for the one meal and eat the biscuits and gravy and leave the tarts and the other biscuit and gravy.
All right, consuming those biscuits and gravy as you unwrap them, like in the small wooden bowl, and they're wrapped with a cloth, you're surprised that they are still actually rather warm. And eating them, you feel that warming effect settle over you, and you realize the cold does not bother you so much. You actually feel a little bit warm, and you loosen your muffler as the food takes its effect on you, and you're very, very satisfied with that serving of crumbs, iron pans, biscuits, and gravy.
If I ever become a gajillionaire, I am hiring him to cook for me every day.
I know, right? I wish I had a real life Crumbs. Wait, I do. I'm agreeing. It is the J sound. Yay! Okay, Engajuk! Although Yuck, you know. Alright, so Jahan is by the side of the cabin eating. What are the rest of you doing? Dragonborn.
I'll follow Jahan and sit down with him and eat.
All right. Anyone else? You're all taking this moment to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're over by the dock with the bell on it.
Correct. Do you see yourselves on the you should see
I
your
do
token.
see.
I was gonna
this.
go right here.
We're all lined up.
I couldn't tell if the bell is up here.
The bell is across the water, the frozen water, the ice, right there on that dock. Helka seems a little discomfited that you aren't just getting right to it, but she gratefully unwraps that package of the still warm biscuits and gravy and tucks in, and she gives you a look of approval with a raised eyebrow, like, these are good.
Money, best money I ever spent.
This
I
is
think
frozen, so
Yeah, I just dice all over there, ring the bell.
yes.
All right, so the halfling approaches the bell and gives it a... You ring it?
Absolutely.
All right. The bell sounds out clear and true in the frosty air. And nothing happens. You wait half a minute. A minute. You look at the ice. Nothing. Does this thing even work? You ring it again.
Hello.
You ring it again. After 3 minutes, you think maybe it's broken. When from behind, you see the shadows of 3 giant vultures swooping down from the north, intent to attack. All right, kids! It's the one thing we all like. It's combat time.
Where is the road? Oh, is that that?
Let's see, gotta remove that. Gotta remove that. Okay, initiative sort. As you hunker by the side of the small stone cabin, Jahan, you see them first flying over the rise of the small island to the north of your companion. The vultures are large, angry-looking birds. They come swooping down at your small companion, who looks like
It put me at the bottom.
Sorry about that. I kind of wondered. All right, Dysol, you see the shadows of these approaching predatory birds swooping down at you. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna actually, I'm gonna try to sprint back to my teammates.
All right, let me move this so people out there in Twitchland can see what's going on. I apologize for the weird layout of the map.
Would
Okay.
this be considered difficult terrain?
Yes, because it is ice. That is correct.
Okay, so then dashing, I can only move 30 feet. And that is my turn.
Alrighty. Alright, Jahan, you see these birds crest over the island, and then the halfling comes bolting, slipping across the ice as he tries to avoid them, swooping down and tearing into him. What do you want to do, Monk?
What we're on difficult terrain as well? This isn't ice, right?
No.
Where we are?
Down here is the difficult terrain.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Can how far are, I can't see the, how far are the birds from Dysol?
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, about 55 feet or so.
Alright, so about 80 feet from me-ish?
Sure.
Alright, I'm gonna take out my short bow, and I'm gonna take a shot at one of them. I can't see him on the map, so just the leftmost one. Or the closest one to Dysol.
You can't?
I can't see him on. I could just see the black. I see a black, like, semicircle past that little pond or whatever.
Oh, the island? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
Is it because you're dark vision?
Let me check that. That is odd. You should be able to see them.
Yeah.
I think hold on, let me see if I move. If I move, I can see them. It almost like it follows me. It almost feels like I have dark vision just turned on.
Alright. Quick correct. 1 second. How about now?
Worse vision. It shrunk.
Oh dear. Alright, that's very odd.
And it won't go away when I move.
Nope, I know what to do. 1 second. Nope, daylight mode is lit.
I can see them if I move. So
Okay.
the middle, I'm gonna shoot at the middle one.
Alrighty.
Oh, now it's all gone. That's really weird. Okay. I don't know what happened.
Alright.
So I'm gonna take a shot with my short bow. 24 for 6 damage.
24. Moving this. Excellent. You knock an arrow, draw the string back to your ear, and the missile flies straight and true, slamming and drilling into the antediluvian bird that lets out a massive squawk as feathers go flying, and it kind of jukes and wheels in the air in its forward rush to come to grips with you and your companions. All right.
And I am gonna take 2 more steps to my left, and that's my turn. Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Giant Vulture. Let me put some damage on this one. Giant Vulture. This one comes sailing down out of the sky. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. The huge carrion bird extends its claws, the talons reaching for the scrambling halfling. And Dysol, you feel the talons slash into your back. There is a ripping sound as you are knocked forward for 10 points of slashing damage as the talons rip into your leathers, and blood begins to flow down your skin. As the animal twists in the air, trying to tear at you, the beak comes lashing down. However, you are able to frantically beat the buzzard's beak away with your hands. Cleric. Perfect. 5.
Yes, I would like to cast Call Lightning, centering here.
Centered where?
Yellow X in the middle of the screen.
Got it. Okay. All right. The wind begins to pick up and whip, and a huge cylinder of wind begins to coalesce with clouds, whirling snow, and strands of lightning appear inside of it. All right.
And I would like to call lightning once the storm fully summons down on these two back here. Right between them.
Perfect. All right. You call the lightning, and the actinic energy flashes out and lets out with a boom. Dex saving throw for these poor fellas.
One saved, one did not, so half damage on one.
All right. So -7. The one that has an arrow sticking out of its chest lets out a squawk as feathers are singed and come sailing off of its body. The other one lets out a loud squawk of pain and seems knocked down in its flight path, just completely blasted. What else you got, Finn?
That's it. Dice all still seems pretty healthy at this point. So.
Okay. Vulture. The vulture comes sailing down out of the sky. 5, 10, 30, 35, 40, 50. The second huge carrion bird comes swooping down at the beleaguered halfling, the beak lashing out, trying to rip some tasty morsels of flesh from the halfling's skin. Alright, halfling, the beak tears into your shoulder, doing 9 points of piercing damage as you feel pieces of muscle stripped away. It tries to stop you in your forward flight with its talons. And the talons also dig into your alternate arm, ripping through your leathers and your skin. You feel copious amounts of blood begin to pool in your sleeve and your mitten. Another 11 points of slashing damage. The final vulture comes flying down. 5, 10, 15, 45, 50... 55, 60. It seems intent on other prey on the shoreline. Dragonborn, what do you want to do? The halfling is imperiled.
Uh-oh. I can't click on my token. Oh, wait. That's my fault. I apologize. Let's see. 5... 30. I will take aim. The Dragonborn takes aim at this vulture here and will toll the dead.
All right. The Dragonborn claps his hands, and that sound, that wave just comes rolling out. That bong, bong, bong. You see the ice below the sound wave shatter and spiderweb as it goes streaking towards the bird. Wisdom save for a vulture. Probably not going to be very good. A 19. It is full. The vulture does not care. Death is its friend and source of sustenance. Anything else, Dragonborn?
No, not at this. You know what? Actually, let me. as a bonus action, I can cast Shield of Faith on the halfling.
You can. All right. Dysol, your armor class is now an 18. Unless the Dragonborn takes some damage and drops the spell.
That is correct. Let me. I feel. Oh yeah. Okay. That will be my turn.
I'm looking for a good shield icon. Oh, we're just gonna use that. All right, sorcerer.
All right, we're gonna use a fireball, but we're gonna use our meta magic, and we're going to twin it. So we're gonna spend 3 sorcery points.
Fireball or bolt?
Ball.
And you're gonna twin it?
Yep.
So I got a question for you. What's if it's not under? It's
Over.
Yeah.
what did
Bill.
what did Uma Thurma do to Bill? Fireball! Where are you sending your
You're dropping 2 fireballs on 3 vultures.
Yeah, you know.
You gotta use it. You gotta use it. Where are you dropping?
You know, it's 10:20, man. Well, you know, I gotta get this done. All right, so we're gonna put one about here,
All right.
and we're gonna put the other one. Where can I put it? Not kill Dysol. About here. Alright. So do I roll that?
All right, I will say you've positioned those. So.
Okay.
Yep.
So do I roll the 86 differently for each of them, or do I roll it?
Roll 86
separate
twice.
attacks,
Yeah,
yeah.
2 separate attacks.
Okay.
All right.
But it's just saving throws.
No, dex saving throw. And your DC is a 13 on your. What's the DC on your?
I'll say 15.
Okay, that is a fail. And group chat dex. Wow.
Well, technically, the middle one got hit twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh. Roll the dice, roll the dice, roll the dice, roll the dice.
Yeah. Okay, so roll them dice as those fireballs go out and go up like a pair of claymores.
Alright.
Alright, so
You gotta roll again.
So, and the next one will be for the one above the yellow X here.
yep.
Man, that's just sad.
But only 13 points of the second one damage hits the middle one.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of damage, dude.
The fireballs just go up into huge golden blasts, sending the carcasses of the crisp and cooked vultures spinning skyward. The charcoal remains hit the ice dozens of yards away and go spinning out, lost to sight there on the ice. The ice in front of the bell is cracked, and there is a large hole with lots of pieces dripping off and shards, big, massive pieces, chunks of ice all over the place. When suddenly there's a bubbling from the hole. And let me do some housekeeping here. There's a bubbling from the hole, and a massive narwhal with a boat on his back surfaces or a massive sperm whale with a boat strapped to his back rises to the surface and looks at you with one black speculative eye.
All right, Charlie, I still got a fireball ready to go.
Whoa, whoa.
Your chain lightning still up?
It is, but I'm
If you must.
I'm certainly not going to electrocute the whale that we summoned.
She wants whale oil, we get a whale oil.
You notice that occasionally surfacing alongside the mighty Angajuk, you see the spouts of 3 white narwhals bobbing up, and they're kind of bobbing up and looking at you there on the verges of the ice with interested eyes, and they make those strange clicking, chirping noises, you know. And the deep sonorous reply from Angajuk, you feel in your chest more than actually hear audibly. The whale looks at you all, and Helka is like, oh. And you hear this deep, deep voice. Why hast thou summoned me?
I'm just gonna look at Cora.
Yeah, I look at Cora.
Have a very
You
good
said-
night, Asking Bard. Thank you for joining us.
Right.
Not
Uh,
Cora.
the-
Helka. Cora was the innkeeper.
The
Yes.
lady said something about fish oil.
What business is that of Angajuk?
Again, I look at our companion.
I was looking at her like, all right, you brought us here. Here he
This
is.
is your time to shine.
Helka steps forward and she holds out her hands plaintively, and she says, "Mighty Angajuk, we would seek your favor and entreat you for passage and transport to the fishery camps out on the flows, that we might do trade with them and purchase fish oil for the inhabitants of the 10 towns." And Angajuk kind of rolls and he looks in that spout, blows. You're not sure what kind of emotion is behind it, but he says, "And why should Angajuk care what happens to man things and those that go about on land?" Helka kind of looks over her shoulder at you all like, "A little help?"
Ted looks at her like, good question.
Well, mighty Angajuk, how did you get a boat strapped to your back?
A long time ago, I was friends and companion with the mighty Anga. He was a mage of the wilderness, and he awoke me to sentience and knowledge of you terrestrial beings. And together we would oft travel, and he would ride in the vessel on my back, so that he would be able to travel with me in our explorations and journeys. Alas, he has been gone these many long, long seasons.
And yet, you keep the boat?
Roll an insight check.
Probably a reminder.
He doesn't have hands.
Angajuk rolls to one side and lifts a mighty flipper, and then it comes down with a splash that kicks up freezing cold seawater. And he says, "I do not have thumbs."
Indeed.
We do.
There's at least 10 of them.
I could fireball that thing right off his back.
Mighty Angaja, what is it you seek? How could we be of assistance? Perhaps we could work something out.
Were you to be a friend of Angajuk, I would be willing to carry you in my back. But how does a manling prove it is a friend to one of the great cetaceans like myself?
What is it you seek? Perhaps there's something that we could provide for you that you could not get for yourself. Perhaps you would be interested in some freshly cooked bird.
Freshly cooked vulture.
The spout blows. Everyone go ahead and make an insight on the spout now that you've seen him blow from his blowhole several times.
Ah,
Finn, you get the definite impression that that was an angry snort of air out of that blowhole. Like he's a little bit offended that you would offer him something as nasty as Vulture. The huge cetacean says, "One who would truly be a friend to Angajuk would find a way to be a friend to Angajuk." And then he makes that deep and you notice the narwhals on either side of him kind of like flip their heads and like they're saying something, and you get the distinct impression that the three narwhals are all kind of chuckling at you. How about the monk or the halfling or the dragonborn or the sorcerer who's itching to fireball the plotline?
The ad-lib this sucker.
Anything to move it along.
right.
I'm gonna go over by the boat and see if there's anything on the boat.
As you approach, Angajuk kind of sinks back towards the water, not quite willing to let you get close enough to either climb aboard or really look in. He's very suspicious of you still.
I'll just stay on the shore. If I see him retreat, I'll just look from the shore and I'll look inside the boat. Do I see any frozen fish or anything in there?
You do not. You do not. From what you can see, the interior of the boat is otherwise empty.
I'm gonna
So-
look at. Oh god.
I was gonna say he just seems really distrustful of you on the shore, as do the narwhal.
Mighty Angajuk, do you have any enemies on the shore?
Angajuk kind of rises up and he looks at you and he says, "You are not like the manlings. You are different. Perhaps you are one that I can entreat with. Yes, there are those who would kill my kind and take what is ours for their own, and they leave nothing but carcasses in return. These despoilers of my people anger me, and I try to sink their vessels, but I am often unable. They are the enemy of my kind. They are the enemy." And all of the narwhal kind of click in a series of angry and annoyed and irritated and suspicious clicks and hoots and chirps.
Do you know what kind of land dwellers they are, or can you describe them?
You, strange one, are not one of them, for I have never seen your kind here before. They are like those manlings, and the flipper kind of gestures out, indicating Finn, Jahan, and Teb. It says, "That one is but a child, and probably does not join the hunt."
I can promise you that we mean you or your kind no harm, and my companions as well. We're simply trying to help our companion here get to trading with the folk that she looks to be trading with. If there's any way that we can help, maybe rid a few of these nuisances, we would be more than happy to help.
Give me a persuasion.
I can do that.
I help.
Okay, go ahead and roll again because you have assist. You have advantage.
Oh, okie dokie.
Hard to beat a 23. All right. Angajuk kind of surfaces some more from the water, and you notice along his dorsal line, past the saddle that holds the boat. It's a large boat. You realize it can probably carry 8 man-sized creatures and some cargo. You see that there are numerous scars along his flanks and sides. Some are huge and massive, just raking like 3 in a line, just that go for, feet. And there are several others that are like small, puckered, heeled over wheels that are like kind of star-shaped. And he says, "Be that as it may, I have been hunted by manlings before, and it is not easy to trust them. But again, I know that not all of them are evil, for Anga was one of their numbers. But it is not easy to trust. So you are saying what to me? That you will hunt others of your kind?"
Teb's gonna look at.
Go ahead, Teb.
Go ahead, Teb.
Sorry. Teb's going to look at Angadrak and say, if you look at our party, you can see we're not all human. Some of us are very distrusted by our own human side sometimes. So whatever we must do to learn and assist you, we're willing to do.
Angajuk looks at you, and his flipper comes out. His fin comes out again and indicates you 3 and Helka and Dysel. "You 4 are manlings and a child. That one there," indicating the Dragonborn, "he alone is different from what I understand." But with that said, go ahead and make a persuasion. The whale seems to relax a tiny bit and seems as though he's starting to pick up what you're laying down. And he says, "Well, if you would be friends, my companions," and by that you see the eye roll around, huge in that massive skull, take in the narwhals. "They would appreciate a gift of fresh octopus. That, or if there were some of those hunters of my kind, you were to defend us and prove that you are trustworthy, then I could be amenable to carrying you to do your task."
We can absolutely do that for you.
"Ring the bell when you have the meal that we need and request."
Will do.
Han's gonna say to the rest of the group, how the hell are we gonna find octopus?
I don't know, but we're gonna do it.
I guess we're gonna go fishing.
Fishing pole.
as Angajuk seems ready to flip and dive, one of the narwhals gives out a squeal of warning as suddenly, from out of the ice, you see 5 shapes approach. And you see 5 greasy, angry humans approaching. And one, sour-faced and eviler looking than the rest, says, "There's the whale! Get it! The head's full of oil!" And they let out a shout and come running forward to engage in battle.
And we thought we were gonna have to go find a human to murder. They came to us.
Give me. Erg, manlings! We hate the manlings. We hate you, filthy hobbitses! Once again, There we go. All right,
That's my third 299.
How long has it been since, since we fought the Vulture? Been pretty short period of time?
About an hour.
Damn it. Alright, so that's 16 save. Okay, I'm set.
All right, I am getting set as well. What has it got in its pockets is? Hands, string, nothing. Wrong guess again. I would like to take this moment while I flounder about to once again give thanks to those who have added to the stream. First off, Sirenscape. Epic Games need epic sound. Go to www.sirenscape.com so you can have all these wonderful sound effects as well. To the talented Travis Savoy, RPG music maker, as I said before, on YouTube and also on Patreon. And then not least of all, Patch with Quest Junkies UK on Twitch, who did our fabulous screens and overlays. Don't look bored, guys. I'm stalling. I'm looking for the bad guy. He doesn't. Oh, no, that's not him. Okay, I guess this is real. Dysol, what would you like to do as the whalers come running into... onto the ice, charging.
You're muted, bud.
I'm gonna shoot somebody.
Alright, which one are you shooting?
This one.
The one least likely to expect it.
Alright. Your arrow sails out, punching through the whaler's leather armor, and he lets out a grunt of pain as the arrow dives deep into his chest. He grabs at it with a groan. What else you got?
I'm gonna take a few steps over here and hide in shadows.
Alright. Only because it's that dim half-light of the northern twilight. Alright. The one with the arrow in his chest comes running forward, brandishing a heavy mace, and he screams at Teb, angered because he has been punctured by a missile and not knowing where the little short bugger went. So Teb is going to do. The mace sings out right at the sorcerer's head. However, the half-elf deftly ducks back and avoids being hit. Alright. He comes running forward, takes a sidestep, and leans out with a heavy crossbow and lets fly at the dragonborn. The heavy iron bolt sails forth and clanks off of your shield with a loud clunk. Angajuk, the mighty whale, sinks beneath the waves, seeking the safety below the ice. Alright, next thug. This thug also pulls out a heavy crossbow and aims at the sorcerer, firing the heavy metal iron bolts, which come sailing out and punches into the sorcerer's ribs, doing a 4 points of piercing damage as you feel that bladed edge tear across your rib cage. Monk, what do you want to do? Are you muted, John?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that. I am going
Alright.
to...
Hey, Charlie,
3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use my shield off my staff of defense. I'm sorry I was muted.
No. Okay. Okay. What does that increase your armor class to?
5, so now it'll be 16.
Okay. Was that a reaction to being hit with a crossbow bolt?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You were muted.
Yep.
Okay, I'll allow it this time.
Sorry.
All right. What are you doing, John?
I'm going to attack this middle one first.
All right. The monk crunches across the snow.
21.
Lashes out with that mace, cracking the whaler right in the side of the head. There's a
No 5 damage.
No 5. There's a sickening crunch as blood and teeth go splattering out onto the snow.
I am going to use 1 key point for stunning strike, so he is stunned until my next turn.
All right.
Let me just see something. Yeah, and that's not a bonus action, that's just stunning strike.
Sure.
So it costs me a key point. I am going to take my second attack on this guy here.
That one. Okay. Are you sure? The one you just stunned, you have advantage on. Too late. All right. You swing out with the mace, cracking this whaler right in the skull, and there is a sickening crunch as you see the side of his head cave in ever so slightly, and he goes pirouetting into the snow. Anything else, Monk?
Is the guy I just hit dead?
He is not.
Oh, alright, and now I'm gonna use an unarmed strike on him as well.
All right.
21.
You lash out with a fist, catching him in the jaw, and he lets out a loud "ugh" of pain as your knuckles connect with his face. Is that everything?
That is my turn. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Finn.
Hey, John, how many hit points do you have?
Me?
Yep.
Does Stunning
Third.
Strike have a saving throw? Am I doing that wrong?
Here, hold on, let
That's
me...
never a good question.
Haha! I got a DM with my
Oh,
back.
I'm sorry,
Watch.
Constitution saving throw, I'm sorry. You're right. Apologize.
That's a John. Nothing personal.
Thank you, Phoenix. Yeah! Yeah! Alright, Constitution saving throw.
Damn, he's onto us.
Yeah. Obviously, players in the United States have a lot of trust issues. Okay, it still stuns. He's still incapacitated. Alright.
And I have 38 hit points. Finn.
You have 38, but are you sure? Alright, Finn! Cleric, what do you want to do?
I will call lightning one more time.
Alright, you summon up the winds, and that 10-foot tall, wide column of air and snow begins spinning as striations of electricity crackle through it.
This time, though, I'm going to channel my destructive wrath. Bring the lightning down right here.
Okay. Oh, I have 38 hit points. Alright. Yeah.
Why? Excuse my French, fucking why?
Bro, just eat a tart. You'll be good.
Your dex is pretty high, right?
Have a tart.
Yeah,
It's
and I'm
delicious.
gonna fucking stun you in 2 seconds.
Jahan, would you like to make your dexterity saving throw? Alright, the monkey takes massive damage. The lightning
Only
comes
takes 15.
15. Woo! Alright, so only one of the 4 thugs takes half, so 15, so that's 30 on all of them, right?
Correct.
That's number 1. We'll give it to him. Minus 15. Well, this deserves something special. The lightning comes slamming down, landing like that meteorite earlier, shattering the snow and sending the thugs flying in a huge explosion, and their bodies roll cooked and destroyed into the snow. Each one of them dead, dead, dead. All right, you got anything else, Cleric?
Bonus action. Oh wait, I don't know if I can actually from here. Let me check my range. Yeah, bonus action healing word on John.
He's like, what are you talking about? I'm just gonna eat berry tarts.
It's textbook abusive relationship.
It really is. And this time,
And now he's
and
gonna
then-
heal me for. He's
this-
gonna heal me for 3 damage.
This time I promise to change. I mean it. All right, Teal.
Teal will engage this feller, and he will lash out with a long sword attack.
I can
Oh boy.
look at Forrest's face. He's like, you better leave some for me. All right, the longsword slashes out, and the leader of the whalers kind of jumps back, and he's like, not today, you blue-scaled beast!
Second attack, same guy. Oh, for the love of Pete.
All right, however, the second strike with your blade cleaves through his hide armor, ripping a deep rent into his flesh, and he lets out a scream of pain. Roll damage.
And he is going to invoke Divine Smite as he feels his blade bite into...
All right.
Where am I at over here? Okay. No.
Don't go take him, my tard. All right, there is that huge flash of radiant magic, and the wound suppurates, and viscera and bits of skin go flying off along with the pieces of leather armor, and the leader of the whalers steps back and grasps at his bloody chest. He's like, ah! And then he looks down and grips his mace even harder. Wow, 19. That's nothing to laugh at.
That, I think will be my turn. I'm going to check one more thing. It is not a bonus action. No. Okay. Nope. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Essentially, that's a dead thug. That's a dead thug. Hey, sorcerer!
All right, Charlie, we got 2 combatants on the field still.
Yep.
All right, using my one of my 2 remaining points of meta magic, and I'm swinging guiding bolt.
Alrighty. The
I'm
guiding
going
bolt.
to use my favor of the gods and add a 2d4 to that.
Alright. So what's the damage on the guiding bolt?
14.
Holy cow! The bolts go sailing out, catching both of the combatants right between the eyes. Would you like to describe how they die?
The bolt sears right into their heads, and they slowly slink into the electrified ground.
Charred ground.
And like that, this battle is won.
Got it hidden.
Okay.
I'm taking Finn's tart.
You don't
are-
deserve a tart.
Then as he happily tosses his tart over to Jahan.
All right. There is
I have
a
a f-
There is a bubbling and a blowing from behind you as the mighty Angajuk rises up through the hole in the ice, and you feel that rumbling deep voice in your chest as the whale says, well, that will do. That will do very nicely indeed. And it is that point where we call an end to this week's journey through Icewind Dale. I would like to call out to our viewers out there in Twitch land. So, One Killer Kitten, thank you for all you do. Becca Brain, thank you for the follow and the subscribe. Bobcat Blackout, thank you. I don't think we've seen you before. Feet. Good name. Joint effort. Lilituff. Phoenix Iwaki, thank you for everything, sir. Roll for damage, LOL, thank you for watching. Civilian, Tebian, I know you guys. The Book Bella, always one of our favorites. And of course, Tial and War Ewer. Alright, so we're most of the people watching. I would like to also say, stick around for the credits. I give thanks to everybody that really mean a lot to us. What would you guys like to say to everyone today?
Thanks so much, everybody. Had a great time.
Drink the whore water.
Yeah,
well, unless, of course, you're... Never mind.
Don't lightning bolt your friends. That's the key takeaway.
The key takeaway.
If your friend asks you how many hit points you have,
Run.
Doc.
Usually when a cleric says, how many hit points do you have, it's accompanied by something good, not a lightning bolt.
I
when
had
you're full
taken
hit
no
points.
damage.
Yeah,
How
not
many
when
hit
you-
points do you have? I don't have to roll perception or insight. I know what's happening.
Do now.
To be fair, Finn is neutral. He would have happily electrocuted you to take down those guys.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, you guys. Thank you. All right, guys, we will be back here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, same crazy bat shit that we do. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for joining.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody.